Hi everyone, it's Lynn. I'm feeling called to really talk about healing the birth story, healing the womb story, and why it's important. Because right now, in this point of time, we're being asked to come back into the body, to come back into owning our body and owning our feelings and really validating our experiences that we've gone through, because that's really needed to help transmute all of the mud and birth the lotus. The lotus is in Buddhism enlightenment, but it's our ability to really come into more truth, come into more authenticity, come into more ability of knowing who we are so we can show up in this world. So, what I'm feeling called today is talk about first healing the birth story, healing the womb story. Our womb space is this cauldron. It's this container that holds information, energy, frequency, the past, different spiritual codes in this very sacred place. And for a long time, we've lost touch with the information of the womb space, but that's coming back online. It's coming back online for many of us. But in order for us to get in touch with it, for those of us who do have a womb, or for those of us who don't have a womb, we all have something called a dantian that lives in that lower abdomen space that's 2 to 3 inches below the navel. This space that translates to dantian translates into Lexer field, which this is the place where we can alchemize, where we can hold energy, where it can create, right? For those of us who have a womb and can have children, this is a place that can create children. It can create magic essentially from this place. And so this womb space also holds information of those people before us and even our own birth story. So, if we've experienced any birth trauma, or if the mother experienced any difficult experiences or trauma herself, then that energy gets transmitted to the fetus. And how do I know this? This is something that has come to me recently in my own experiences and doing my own inner work. I was able to do a regression into a past version of myself where I was able to get in touch with a version of me that was very insecure. I was maybe about 4 or 5 years old, and I could see myself in kindergarten being, feeling sad, feeling not connected to myself. And in that time, I was able to go back even farther and connect with when was the first time I experienced that feeling of insecurity where I didn't feel safe. And it was in the womb space where I was able to kind of pick up on energies that my mother was experiencing during the time. And so I'm finding it really, really important nowadays that we're coming back into healing our womb spaces, learning about the stories that are stored here, learning about the feelings that are stored here, bringing more awareness to that space, because this is the space that creates life, it creates magic, it creates so much. We can store energy here. And oftentimes, what I find is that we store energy in our head or we store energy in our chest, but we forget to store it in this lower abdomen space, which the Chinese say that it connects you to your root. When we're doing Qigong, we want to be rooted in that lower abdomen space. We want to be rooted in our dantian. And you can do that simply just by sending your breath into the space, breathing into the dantian, which is about 2 to 3 inches below the navel. So, why is this important now more than ever? When we clear out some of the mud, the stickiness, the kind of gunk that's in the faucet, for example, then the faucet turns on, it clears all that gunk, and then all of the clear liquid and the water can come out and it can be clear and flowing and it's drinkable, right? That's where we want to create from. We don't want to create from the gunk. We don't want to create from the sticky mud. We want to create from this clear energy field. And so a part of clearing that field is remembering and acknowledging and naming and bringing awareness to the stories, the feelings, and the information that is stored in the body. And in particular, in this video, we're talking about the womb space in our birth story. And so, why is it important? Why is it important? Because science shows through epigenetic trauma research, it shows that anything that the mother has gone through, it can affect the fetus, the DNA expression of the fetus, how the fetus will then express its genes, how its health will show up as, and even in different research with adverse childhood experiences as well, they're showing that people who do go through adverse childhood experiences end up having more health issues versus those who don't. And so there's a lot of new research happening on trauma these days, and it's just showing that this vibration, this memory, this energy of trauma that's stored in our tissues, that's stored in our containers, such as our womb, affects not only us, but the people that are connected to us, the babies that we have. And so we as we're healing these stories and as we're becoming more aware, one tool that is so important is having a mindfulness practice, having a practice where you can just become, you could slow down and just become aware that your focus and your attention is here in your body or on your breath. And the more you do that, the more you refine this ability to just come in and return back to yourself. And once you get to that level one, you can get to level two, which is essentially going to different parts and just seeing what sensations arise as you're in that part. So, for example, if you put one hand on your womb space and you breathe into that place, noticing what sensations come up, noticing what is said, noticing what images come up, and allow that to just be seen and noticed, but not responding to them or not needing to do anything, but just witnessing our own experience coming from within outwards. And so this is really important as well. Level 3 of that would be essentially going deeper into subconscious work, working with a practitioner, doing somatic practices such as dancing, drawing, really moving your body, moving this energy out, doing somatic practices such as Dawa trauma or somatic experiencing, but really getting into being supported in a container that feels safe where you can explore these deeper womb stories, or these deeper birth stories. And if you can go to level 4, which is essentially doing this own inner work where you can meditate on these spaces and really get in touch with the deeper aspects of you that your subconscious mind wants to share with you. That there's two levels of the mind. So there's the conscious mind and there's the subconscious mind. We operate 80 to 90% from the subconscious mind. So all of the feelings and the memories and all of the things that are stored in the subconscious mind, we are essentially operating from. And so in order to shift the birth story and the womb story, we have to turn off our conscious mind, the thinking mind, go into the subconscious mind, which can be done through movement and somatics and meditation and different ways, right? But going into that place and shifting the story that's there, shifting the feelings that are there, acknowledging the feelings that are present there. Maybe there's feelings of loneliness, maybe there's feelings of grief, sadness, rage, really being able to have a safe container where you can feel like you can go into and drop into the subconscious space to get in touch with the feelings that are there. That's really important when we're doing this work. And as we continue, from a Chinese medicine perspective, reproduction is very much connected to the kidneys. And so, as we're doing this work as well, and we're healing and we're really becoming, we're really attuning ourselves and acknowledging what's in our bodies and what's present, we're able to actually move energy just by doing that alone. Just our presence alone, just by noticing with our awareness alone is enough. And so, that in itself can shift our kidney energy. And our kidney energy is responsible for reproduction, it's responsible for fertility, it's responsible for aging. And so often what happens is that we can even change our trajectory of how our kidney energy, how we age, how our mind will be, how our brain health will be, and all of these different pieces that are connected to the kidneys, because the kidneys are most related to fear and trauma, and also ancestral and an intergenerational trauma as well. And so these are all connected. And so I wanted to share this because this is something that's coming to me that's very, very important now as we go forward. Is this is a tool that can really help us remember and come back into safety in our own bodies. This is really important because oftentimes I know I spent a lot of my life like like disassociating and not wanting to be in my body, not like knowing how to feel my own emotions or being numb to my own emotions. And yet actually it's creating these safe containers for myself where I can give that to myself, where I can connect, where I can support myself even spiritually. That's a very, very big tool when we can resource in our own spirituality as well, and resource into tools that our ancestors have resourced in, because this has been a really big part of my journey as well. So if anything resonates, please comment below. I'd love to hear about your own experiences as well. And I'm going to be sharing more about the birth story, more about the womb healing, all of these different pieces that connect as well as we go forward, because I really feel like it's important nowadays. So if anything resonated, please let me know. I hope it did, and I will catch you on the next video.